What is going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we've got the review for episode 73 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And straight away I want to say that I'm kind of, at least in my head, I'm approaching these reviews from now on a little bit differently, because in the past, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best reviewer on the entire planet. Like, I do not view the anime, I don't have the exact same analytical perspective as some of the other YouTubers out there, and I feel like I was trying too hard to be too analytical and stuff. So I'm just literally going to speak my mind from now on about what I enjoyed on the episodes, because that's what I have the best knowledge about. So if the structure for this episode review maybe is not quite in chronological order, or I've missed something along those lines which you think, you know, I probably should have touched on, then that's why I'm just kind of speaking my mind now straight after watching the review, watching the episode. No more of this trying to like think up analytical and complex scenarios and things like that, just because that's not me. Okay, there's other YouTubers out there that will do that stuff for you. That being said, this episode was fantastic. Now, one thing I want to say is this Mitsuki retrieval arc. I see a lot of people complaining, and honestly, it makes me laugh so much because, and I'm pretty sure these guys, they're not Boruto fans. They're probably, you know, they're more of the haters. I don't like labeling people haters or something like that, because honestly, you can hate on the series. I don't mind. If it's not for you, that's perfectly fine. It's just when people kind of just make up stupid stuff, like it did trigger me a little bit back in the Tune exam art when people said it's awful, it's just a rehash of the movie, because you can tell that way that they don't actually watch the series. And it's getting a bit similar, but at the same time a little bit different now with this arc, because back in the first 50 episodes, people were like, oh, this is so terrible, what's with all the slice of life? We want more of what made Naruto great. And that is, a lot of people refer to part 1. And now, in this Mitsuki retrieval arc, we get part 1-esque Naruto, and people are complaining, saying, yeah, but they're just copying old Naruto. So some part of me is starting to think, like, some people know what they actually want, because they want old style Naruto, then they get old style Naruto, and then they want to go back to like old Boruto. It breaks my mind. I don't really understand it, because a lot of people say that this Mitsuki retrieval arc is literally just the Sasuke retrieval arc all over again, and I have to disagree. I understand the similarities. I don't think it's so much a copy and paste of the Sasuke retrieval arc, but more so a homage, a nice little, you know, tip of the hat to the Sasuke retrieval arc, because it's not the same. You know, Sasuke hasn't been, well, I can understand the similarities between Sasuke and Mitsuki, but as for the rest of it, I don't quite understand I think it's a bit different. Other than the whole Mitsuki's ran away and gone with a group of bad guys, they're the only real things I can think of. I think the rest of it, although it may be similar, it's different enough to you just not be the same. Anyway, rant over. This is not an arc review, it's an episode review. Let's get into the actual episode now. Now, we got to see Konohamaru kind of confess about his true feelings towards Orochimaru, because although it is probably extremely obvious that Konohamaru had this hatred towards Orochimaru, I don't actually think it was confirmed, or not from him himself, but now we have confirmation that Orochimaru and Konohamaru, they're a no-go. They do not get along, or at least Konohamaru despises Orochimaru. And we've got this really interesting interaction between Naruto and Konohamaru, and Konohamaru is saying, why didn't you tell me this before? Mitsuki is he's my student, he's my teammate, you know, why was this kept so secret? Naruto's basically saying, even if you did know, you know, it shouldn't, or it wouldn't have changed your perspective on Mitsuki, because although you might hate Orochimaru, Konohamaru needs to understand that Mitsuki is not Orochimaru. Although he may have ties, he is a different person. And I do think it was kind of weird and stupid as why they don't let Konohamaru actually go after Mitsuki and Boruto and Sarada, because Konohamaru said it himself, it is literally his team. So why Naruto didn't let him go after his own team, I can't quite get my head around it. It is a bit weird. I feel as though that Team 7 are more likely to listen to Konohamaru than they are to Moegi or anyone like that. So the reason as to why he couldn't tag along with Moegi, I'm not saying Moegi can't go. I think that Team 10 is fine to go. Konohamaru probably should have tagged along in my opinion. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Unless Naruto's trying to protect... I mean, I suppose you could say Naruto's trying to protect Mitsuki because, you know, in case Konohamaru's feelings get the better of him once he then comes back into contact with Mitsuki, something like that. I'm not too sure, so maybe that's the reason. I didn't quite think of that until actually articulating it right now, so kind of look like an idiot. Another really interesting thing was we got to see Log again, and I love Log. I don't know why. It's probably just because he looks like a badass. I think the whole idea of... I want to know if Log also has the same sage mode as Mitsuki, because we know Log is just a failed attempt at Mitsuki, and he's clearly not that bad of an attempt. He's not that much of a failure in my opinion. I saw some people talking about this, and I think it's quite probably a good theory idea that Log, the only reason Log is a failed version of Mitsuki is because Log can't think for himself. His Orochimaru's word is that, and that is that, nothing else. He doesn't think for himself, and this was kind of shown when Orochimaru was trying to explain the whole moon and sunlight thing to Log, and Log, he didn't understand because he thinks he can't think for himself. He has to have everything given to him on a plate, i.e. Orochimaru, and I feel as though that is why Log is the failed version, and Mitsuki, I mean, I don't know if he knows whether or not Mitsuki is the complete version or a failed version yet. I think this is going to be a big test for Mitsuki. I think we all probably know that Mitsuki is the perfect version, and that's he wants a Mitsuki that can think for himself, someone where he can then pass the torch down to, all of his knowledge and experience down to, once Orochimaru, if and presumably finally dies or whatever, he's then got someone who he can pass his torch down to. I also feel because he's not 100% sure whether or not Mitsuki is a finished version yet, I think that could be why he's got these other Mitsukis just kind of floating around in his home, because he's not 100% certain. He doesn't want to take the risk. He's going to create backups just to be safe. We also learned this really interesting thing, like, if I can't remember the exact quote. It was something like, if his secrets get out, Mitsuki has a curse mark implanted inside of him that will self-destruct. Like, that is wild. That is crazy. This episode made me think, what if Mitsuki is written to die? What if he is? Because obviously we're going to have Kawaki at some point in the story, and we imagine Boruto and Kawaki are going to have quite a close relationship, a type of relationship we kind of presumed Mitsuki and Boruto would have. Now, what if, and I think this is extremely possible, what if at some point in the story Mitsuki dies, presumably saving Boruto, or maybe this whole self-destruct thing will go off, I'm not entirely sure, but what if Mitsuki dies at some point during the story? And, you know, it wouldn't be that huge because he's a main character, there's no denying that, and killing off main characters is always risky business, especially when it's a team 8 team 7, you know. There's always a risky business doing that, you know, whether it be a business side, because maybe you'll lose some sales because of hardcore Mitsuki fans, something like that. But I think if you're going to kill off any of these Team 7 members that have the biggest impact, but also have a retcon ready in place that makes sense to bring them back, I think Mitsuki's the one, because I think it'd really impact Boruto and the story if Mitsuki was to die, especially for Boruto's sake. But if need be, he can easily be brought back through Orochimaru. So Orochimaru could have took the DNA, the memories, whatever from the dead Mitsuki, the Mitsuki we know and love, implant that into a new Mitsuki, and there we go. Because that is definitely possible. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I do think if you're going to kill any of these Team 7 members, or any of these Genin, any of the top tier Genin anyway, Mitsuki probably does make the most sense and would be the easiest to do. Also, that scene of Boruto and Sarada kind of learning Mitsuki's secret that he's not actually human, he's an experiment. It was wild. It was the voice acting in this episode was fantastic, and Boruto's face when he first realizes, you can see on his face the amount of just dread and anger and sadness and sorrow and confusion, and so many emotions go through Boruto within a split second, and you can see he just does not know what to think. He's literally distraught, and obviously he's angry towards Orochimaru, but I don't think Boruto had any idea what to think during that situation. A little bit similar to Sarada, however, you can tell that Sarada kind of took it on a little bit different. She kind of sat back and thought, right, Boruto, this is that, but we can't let this get in our way, blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, this was fantastic. And also, for anyone who doesn't read the manga, it was completely different in the manga. When Boruto found out that Mitsuki was an experiment, it was a gag moment in the manga. It was a genuine gag moment in the manga. In the anime, this was such a hard-hitting episode. Like, the contrast between the two was crazy, and it's yet another difference, huge difference, may I add, between the anime and the manga. It just confuses me, okay? I get the same face Boruto had when I think about the two coinciding. It doesn't make sense to me. Seeing Karin again was great. We also got a small glimpse of Sugetsu, who's got like a proper katana now. That was pretty cool. But seeing Karin was fantastic. She looks really good. Her character design is fantastic. I love the whole hairstyle and stuff. She looks more like, I don't know, just more feminine. Not really feminine. I can't quite think of the word, but let's put it this way. I prefer her design in Boruto 10, 100, 1,000 times more than I did in Shippuden. We got this really interesting and quite symbolic scene as well, where Boruto and Sarada were looking up to the moon at night. I think, was it a full moon? I can't think it was a full moon or not. I want to kind of touch on to moons and full moons and stuff later on in the review, and then I think it then cut to, or this was before it cut to Boruto and Sarada, whichever one anyway. Mitsuki was also then looking at the moon at presumably the same time in the sky, and then we got another look at the new bad guys, new villains. I still don't know what to think of these villains, whether they're going to actually be like proper top tier actual villains with a motive and a backstory and they're likable, or if they are just going to be kind of fodder, because when the arc started I was thinking they look cool, but I just can't help thinking they're going to be a little bit foddery, a little bit like Shin Uchiha, where it was like, they are fodder, but at least they're cool fodder. Does that make sense? That's kind of like, they're like the fodder, but a cool fodder. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. They are a little bit interesting. They're keeping them secret, which is really interesting. It does make me think, what's going on? During this arc at some point, Boruto and Sarada are going to go meet the White Snake Sage at Ryuki Cave. Ryuki Cave? I can't think of if it's Ryuki or Ryuki, but this is, one of the things I never thought would happen in Boruto would seeing the White Snake Sage. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I didn't even remember him that much from Shippuden. Like, I had to look him up a little bit. Maybe that's just me being an absolute idiot. It's been a long time since I saw that part of Shippuden, so maybe that's just the case. But I had searched him up, and I'm really hyped to see him. I think it's going to be really interesting. When Orochimaru was saying, I know one person that will, help you understand this snake and communicate with this snake, something like that, I was like, it's going to be Jugo. Jugo can speak with the wildlife. We're going to see Jugo again. And it was like, bang, White Snake Sage. I was like, okay, little bit of a jump there, but it's cool. We'll go with it. It's going to be very exciting. I do wonder if that's where maybe Mitsuki's heading. It's going to, I don't know, maybe that's where they're going to finally bump into each other and the finale of the arc will take place. I think it'd be a good setting. Maybe Mitsuki wants these guys. I don't know what to think of these villains. Like I said, I don't know what the hell Mitsuki has planned. It's going to be extremely interesting, and I do think this arc is going to go on for quite a while now, which does make me think about the possibility of manga content being delayed again. It's going to be interesting. Can't wait to see more. Anyway, let's kind of wrap it up here with the whole full moon thing I was talking about Mitsuki. I see this theory a little bit. I think Anime Balls Deep kind of really pushes this theory out there, and I'm not 100% caught up or sure or in the know about what this theory is exactly, but I see a lot of people saying stuff about a full moon Mitsuki, and this is quite interesting, as Orochimaru said he seems to be in stage 2. Stage 2 of what? It's very, I just can't quite wrap my head around what's going on with Mitsuki, which is good. I love it to pieces, because mystery is some of my favourite things. When you can't wrap your head around something and it really gets your mind ticking, I love it. And that's why characters such as Orochimaru are my favourite, because you want to be inside their head but you can't, and it keeps making you think and know the answers. And that's literally what I'm like right now with Mitsuki. So is there like a full moon Mitsuki form thing? Like, when a full moon's active, is he a bit like a werewolf? When there's a full moon, he turns or something like? Completely no idea. But guys, I want to hear your ideas and thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below. Let's talk about that Mitsuki mystery. Let's talk about it, guys. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad. And I'll see you guys in another video. But until then, peace.